All right, excellent. You know what I like about you? Do I call you Andrew? Do I call you BPF? What's going on with this?
Fine, yeah.
Sorry?
Andrew's fine.
Andrew? All right. You know what I like about you, Andrew? We're smoking.
Yeah. Fucking based, right?
Mm. Absolutely. You can't.
So I got this buddy of mine. He runs an Orthodox channel. Good guy. He used to smoke inside.
Orthodox Christian?
Yeah, Orthodox Christian.
Okay, yeah.
Good guy.
Is he Greek?
Used to only smoke outside. Didn't want to smoke on stream. And I think I inspired him, and I'm pretty proud of that.
Oh, okay, good. He's spreading the word of lung burning to the masses. Excellent.
Just like, it's okay. It's okay. You can smoke on stream. We're men. We drink. We smoke. We're assholes. It's all good.
Okay, excellent. Assholes is part of the credo. I can't really get into it. How does that work out for you?
I think it works out pretty well.
Yeah. Is that something you work at, honestly? Because you seem to work at a heel angle.
It's just part of my nature, man. It's just part of my
Okay. So this is not an act. This is just you interacting, and you seem to fall into the heel, I guess, category of streams. Is that a wrong assessment?
What's a heel category?
It's like a wrestling term, like a pro wrestling term. You have a face, the baby face, right? Who's the good guy, right? And then you have the heel, who's the bad guy, right?
I'm the good guy
against the crowd, but
yeah,
also
no. I'm the good guy. I'm the good guy.
Okay, so the baby face. All right.
Yeah, I'm the good guy. Twitch liberals and communists are the bad guys.
Okay. Got a problem with the communists?
Yeah, I have a big problem with the communists.
Okay, what's the problem with the communists?
One communist on Twitch I like is Haas.
Okay. All right. I'm somewhat of a communist. You can evaluate my communism. It's not your average Twitch streamer's communism. But,
okay.
Yeah. I guess. All right. Well, tell me what you think of this. I guess I believe more in communalism than communism.
Same shit.
Same shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you okay? I would suspect that you'd probably have leanings towards communalism, but I might be wrong.
All well, right? There's a difference between community and communalism, right?
Okay, so what does communalism mean to you?
Communalism to me would mean collectivism.
Okay. All right. Just okay. All right. So I guess in that case, how do I put this? I think collectivism can be a good solution for certain problems. I'm not going to dictate which problems, because that's your problem. That's whoever's applying the thing, right? But if I have problems in common with certain people, okay, and we socialize or communalize our resources and efforts to coordinate a solution for this, then that's my type of communalism. Essentially my I was trying to explain localism.
Collective action?
No, I was trying to explain localism, and I guess the best way I could do this, basically, my approach to politics is everyone should form their own kind of mafia-type organization, okay, and pool their resources to take care of each other.
Don't they do that right now?
Yes, they do. Yeah, I think so.
So you're like just for the status quo then, or?
It's not that. It's just that. How do you put this? I don't think I have enough visibility to make any prescriptions on how anybody should live their life. Okay, I do have visibility on the things that are local to me.
That's weird, dude. Why is it that you think it takes visibility for you to be able to make a value judgment on how people should live?
Because I don't know their problems. I don't know what their problems are. I don't know what the forces that are influencing those problems are. And I don't have a stake in their lives. Like if I make a bad decision or if I make a bad prescription, okay, and they take it, all right, and whatever they have going on fails, okay, I'm still alive to make, or I'm still there to make bad calls another day. That's not a system I want to be a part of.
But that's kind of the system you're advocating, right?
No. In what way?
Well, yeah, it is, because you're saying that from your perspective, it's not your responsibility to tell people that they're doing something wrong.
Okay.
Well, but it is your responsibility to tell people
them that they're doing something wrong. Yeah. I can't be a proper judge of whether or not they're doing something right or wrong, because I don't know what their lives are. I don't know what their values are. I don't know.
But you need to know what a person's life.
I'm going to finish this one sentence. Any prescription that I make from them is more of a reflection of me than it is about the problem that they're actually dealing with.
I see. So are people allowed to kill other people?
Are they allowed to kill other people?
Yeah.
In certain situations, aren't they?
Are they allowed to murder other people?
In certain situations, aren't they?
Certain situations, you would think that murder is okay, or?
In certain situations, I suppose murder and killing people would be justified.
What situation would murder ever be justified?
If your people are threatened.
That's not murder.
Okay, well, I mean,
murder is taking the life.
People's lives.
So what I'm asking you is, like, there's obviously value judgments that you can make on things that are right and wrong all the time, regardless of what you know about a person's personal situation. So, well, I don't know why you wouldn't do that, or why you would say that it's not your place. Of course it's your place. Like, if a kid was drowning, like, I don't know his whole history and his personal situation, so I can't jump in the water to save him. That's just kind of ridiculous, right? Like,
okay.
you can make judgment calls.
You know what? True. You could say, like, I'm going to choose to save this drowning kid.
I'm going to interfere, right? I'm going to interfere and make a judgment call.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah. What's wrong with that? Like,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with telling bad.
Do it. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with telling bad people to stop living bad lives, man.
Then again, you know what? Maybe saving the drowning person isn't the right call. What if you're a terrible swimmer? What if you don't know that there's an undercurrent dragging this person down, and if you get in there, you're fucked too?
I mean, don't you think that's an outlier, though?
I mean, you should try. At least try to mitigate.
Yeah, you should probably at least try. So, I mean, the thing is, it's like, obviously you have judgment, and you have fairly decent judgment. Because if I ask you basic questions about judgment calls you would make, they're fairly decent judgment calls. So the question becomes then, like, why do you think that you are in some way not equipped to make judgment calls about other people and how they're living? Of course you're equipped to do that. You have a brain. You clearly have judgment. There's absolutely no reason. This live and let live kumbaya shit is nonsense, right? There is a standard for how people should live, and it's objective and it's knowable, and there's no particular reason why you can't make judgment calls on it.
When you're messing with someone's life, right? Okay, especially if you're in the position, to still continue making bad decisions once you've made a bad decision for somebody else, because you have no skin in the game. You have nothing to eliminate you from the game if you make a bad decision, right? And you can just keep making these bad decisions. And you're there, and especially if you garner some kind of influence, you're there to make bad decisions for people all the time. They take your advice and they go ruin their fucking lives, all right? And you've contributed to that. It's not giving people that kind of like one side, one directional kind of, giving people that kind of direction for me is irresponsible. And I wouldn't take it from anybody else either. Okay, and I wouldn't impose things that I'm not gonna impose on myself.
What do you mean? You wouldn't take advice from somebody?
I would listen to people and what they have to say. I might take someone's advice.
Something smart.
No, people sound smart all the time.
Yeah, but what if they say something that's smart and life-changing? Like, you're just not going to listen to it because you don't feel like people should be able to make a prescription or say things that are obviously true. Like, you know, maybe you'd get that job interview if you dress nicer, or, you know, how about just like basic things like this that are pretty obvious to people? I don't see any particular reason not to tell them, hey, don't complain about the situation that you're in life, because most of the time, let's face it, people put themselves in the situations they're in life.
I don't think I'm qualified to make a judgment call on what someone should do. What I can do is tell them a similar problem that I've had, how I took care of it and why I took care of it, and they can take that information and make their own decisions.
Do you make bad judgment calls in your own estimation?
Probably, yeah.
Do you make
Yeah,
bad judgment
absolutely,
calls?
absolutely,
Do you make bad
absolutely.
judgment calls in your own life mostly, or?
You know what? Yeah, absolutely, I do. But I have a system that makes it work for me. I live a pretty good life. I have a great relationship. I have a great family. I have a great network of people. But I have made bad judgment calls constantly, and I have a system to basically use that to my advantage.
Well, then how's it a bad judgment call?
Because frequently you'll go in a direction, right, and you'll think, okay, well, things are going to work out this way. I've worked it out. I'm a smart guy. I know what I'm talking about. Okay, things are going to work out and they're going to go in a certain direction. Okay, and then you actually, put your great plan through the chaos of life. Okay, and you end up in a completely different place. All right, it's still a great place. All right, it's not where you thought you were going to go, but frequently I find that you learned a lot during the journey, and you're in a place that gets you to another better place. So so that's it. I've learned to stop being so tied to like what I think is going to happen and how right I am, okay, and have more of a system to basically capitalize on opportunities when they come up, and 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 that's it, and damn the rest.
So I don't understand. So in your system, you're going with the flow until a good opportunity comes up, and then you take the good opportunity.
Yes, and I think the right way to do it is to cultivate I guess a more opportunities for luck to happen and construct a system that will capture luck when it does happen.
So you make your own luck.
Do I make my own luck? No,
Yeah.
no. Luck happens. It happens all the time. All right.
Mhm.
It's just not gonna, like, imagine it's like this random force out there. Okay. All right. And the trick is, as far as my approach goes, all right, is to maximize your opportunities to hit luck. All right. And when it does come up, have a system that's able to uh, have a better probability of capitalizing on it.
Okay, excellent. So it sounds like you're advocating for such a system.
Advocate more like, here's my approach to life, and if you find some value in that, then take it. If not, we can still be friends.
Right, but you think that that system works pretty well, right?
I think humans have been organizing it. I think in a way, no, hold on. Do I think that system works pretty well? Works pretty well on what scale, in what setting?
Seems to work pretty well for you, right?
It works pretty well for me.
Okay, but you don't think it'd work pretty well for most people?
Not necessarily.
Okay, got it. So I mean, it sounds to me like you make all kinds of judgments, to be perfectly honest with you, and that you've made enough judgments in your own life to determine a system that works for you that you think makes you successful.
Yeah.
And there's a particular reason I can ascertain why you wouldn't want to pass that system for being successful on other people.
What's that last part you said?
I don't understand why you would be reticent in passing on that system for success to other people.
Oh, because it might not work for them. They're not in the same
You're
circumstances. They're
advocating
not.
for it right now. So,
I'm advocating for it. I'm sharing how I see the world and how I navigate it,
and you in the hopes that it'll help other people.
in the hopes that people, I guess, think about it, think about, maybe temporarily apply it to their lives. All right,
Mhm.
or at least to certain things that they see in their lives, with
Yeah.
low risk, of course. All right, and see how it works out for them.
Right. So you're making a
I'm
value.
inviting people to take an experiment, to make an experiment. How
Yeah.
about
So
that?
you're making a value judgment, and you're expressing it. You're telling people that this is a way that you can live, and it works really well for me, and I hope it works really well for you. Got it. So you are expressing what you think is the best way, and I think that that's fine. All right. I'm not beating you up about that.
No, no, that's fine.
I just don't think it's a everybody live and let live and let's all sing kumbaya. I think that the world's far more complex than that. People need rules, they need structure, they need understanding, they need direction. There's all types of things that interact with the human psyche and interact with the way that we perceive the world that are complex.
Mhm.
And that's why we have established rules for society. And I think that those
Right.
are probably
Some
pretty good.
people,
Right?
some people, I would say most people, probably work better in a hierarchy.
All people work in a hierarchy.
Okay.
There's no human being
All right.
alive.
Fair.
No human being
I,
alive with other humans that don't work in a
okay.
hierarchy.
No, that's not true. I don't think that's true. I think most people work in a hierarchy. I think there's a minority of people who don't work in a hierarchy.
There's
All right.
nobody who doesn't work in a hierarchy.
Sure,
Who's running
sure,
the
sure.
people?
Yeah, there are people. For
No,
sure, there are people. Maybe sometimes they'll be diagnosed with like opposition disorder or something like that. But I mean, there are
no.
just people who just can't do it. Like
If you're working with
they'll do it temporarily, but it's just not in their character.
if you're working with another human being, you're in a hierarchy, no matter what. There's nothing you can do about it.
In what way? In what way? If you're working with another human being,
Because
you're in
when
a
two
hierarchy.
consciousnesses come into contact, one has to necessarily dominate the other, whether
Really?
it's intrinsically necessary or not. It's just the way that it works.
Dominate in what way?
It's usually fairly subtle. It doesn't have to be academic in the way that you would think, like two people have to fight to the death or something like this. It's just a subtle way that it's called spontaneous order. So people will spontaneously order themselves around other people, and that's necessary to do. For instance, if you were weak and somebody else was strong, they would probably do most of the heavy lifting, right? We've already established now that there's some type of hierarchy here, no matter what. So this is just always the case. We're pack animals. We exist within a hierarchy.
Hmm.
All relationships are a hierarchy as well. There's always somebody who's dominant in a relationship, regardless of how equal you want to make it or unequal you want to make it or egalitarian you want to make it. Always somebody's in charge.
It's not always the same person. You know what? I can see this happening. Okay, I can see this happening. I'll let you take the lead on this one, right? Depending on the situation. My wife and I can work this way, right? There are certain situations where I'm going to trust her judgment, right? And and as her partner, okay, I'm going to support her as much as I can in whatever her endeavor is, because I trust her and she's done good jobs before, right? And there are other times where it's the same. I guess we're reversed. Would you say that's a hierarchy? But I feel like that's more of a partnership.
No, it's not a partnership. One of you is still dominant. Like no matter what,
That changes based on the environment.
No, it doesn't. One of you is still dominant. Think about what you're saying to me. You're like, look, man, there are times when I trust her judgment.
Yeah.
Can she impose her judgment on you?
No.
Could you impose your judgment on her?
No.
You couldn't?
No, I share my.
No, I said could, not would, but could. Could you impose your judgment?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. So like, there you go. There's the hierarchy.
Oh, that's not fair. Yeah, I could go full psycho. I could go full psycho, okay, and leverage our relationship, okay, and be like, look, you're gonna.
Yeah, but she couldn't. So that's the difference, right? It's like she couldn't. Like your wife's not going to be able to physically make you do what she wants, right? But you'll always have that option available to you. So I mean, no matter what, you're always within a hierarchical structure, and you're always going to be at the top of it. So
she could possibly dominate me with, how is it, if she went far enough, because she has leverage on me in terms of she owns basically exactly half of everything. It would be a massive problem for either one of us.
So she would have to appeal to a separate hierarchy in order to break the hierarchy that she has right now.
A separate hierarchy? How? She'd have to,
like if
for some reason, want to leave this.
Oh yeah, she has half your shit.
Say, that's it. Yeah, exactly. And then say, right, okay, I see. You're talking about the government and the law in terms of hierarchy, right? Yeah. I mean, those are the legal agreements that we've made to each other.
Yeah, everything's a hierarchy, man.
Okay, all right.
All interaction.
If you're gonna, okay, hold on. You don't think there's? I want to get to other stuff, but I want to finish this. I want to finish this one. You don't think that? Hold on. How would you? How would you even measure who is the dominant? Like, what is it? What is the criteria?
I think it's pretty obvious, actually. So,
who has a choice in the matter, and who?
So generally, I think one of the ways that you would make an instant default is who's stronger, right? That usually is a pretty instantaneous default that we can all look at, right? Like just plain who's stronger. This is in male hierarchy.
Physically.
Yeah. Who's stronger physically. I think that's an obvious trait for hierarchy, right? But there's also leadership skills. That might be something that might be dominant within a hierarchy. I do agree to an extent that there could be situational circumstances where hierarchies can shift, but I think that you still end up with something that you would consider to be the leader or the alpha or whatever the fuck you want to call it, who would be at the top of the hierarchy, even if in certain situations they had to yield to you to take care of a certain circumstance. I still think that there's always going to be somebody who's dominant in any relationship between two people. Always. That seems to be the way that the world works and how we manifest existence.
I think it shifts. I think it shifts based on the environment. Again, this is not just my wife and I, but other people, right?
Sure.
Who have skills. If they're very skilled,
that's true. I just don't think it matters.
If they're very okay, I see. Even for those individual things, we always organize in a hierarchy.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, if that's shifting, okay, overall, you can still be egalitarian. I guess on a more macro scale,
you can't be egalitarian.
Yeah, because if
no two people
the hierarchies are shifting all the time,
yeah,
okay, then over time it's flattened.
That wouldn't be egalitarianism, even if the hierarchies are shifting. Look, egalitarian.
Not egalitarianism. There's no such thing as equality.
Right.
Okay, people are different. We have different skills. We adapt differently. The environment changes how much we're worth, or whatever. There's no equality. Okay, at one given time. How about that? Okay, but if you think more four-dimensionally, you could achieve equality, I guess, over a longer span of time.
You can't achieve equality.
You can achieve a more flattened hierarchy.
Okay, so you can achieve more equality.
Yes. Yeah, okay. That's right. There's no such thing as total hierarchy either.
No, I think that there is such thing as total hierarchy. Yeah.
No, because you're whoever you're dominating or whatever could decide for whatever. They have a a sudden brain problem or something like that. They could just quit on you. All right,
okay,
and then whatever
you would still be at the top of the pack, though, right?
You'd be the top of yourself.
Just like if you went to sleep one night and like your wife stabbed you to death while you were sleeping, she would be at the top of the hierarchy then, right?
Okay. So it seems like hierarchy just means the upper hand for you.
Well, no, I think it's more complex than that. I'm just saying that all systems and structures that I've ever witnessed with my two eyeballs exist within a hierarchical structure, and I can't see a way around it. Okay, and it's not like I haven't tried.
I will concede to your point. Okay. I'll concede to your point. Even in groups, it's true.
Yeah.
Even in groups, it's true. People look to certain people to give them direction on things,
including us, right?
Yeah. Including us in what way?
Including us. Like, we're going to look to certain people to give us direction in certain circumstances, right? And maybe we look to people like I looked at my dad, for instance. He was certainly at the top of the hierarchy of my household, you know. And I think that my children probably look at that same way. Yeah. He's still alive, but he's not the top of the hierarchy of my household anymore. But if we were all in the same room, I think he would probably still be on top of the hierarchy, right? So again, I think that society organizes itself fairly well in a hierarchical structure. I think egalitarianism tends to be something of a fantasy. So
egalitarianism, okay, you know what? Egalitarianism as an ideal, like everybody equal. You're right, fantasy. It's a fucking unicorn, an ideal form. One of Plato's ideal forms. You make statues to it.
Yeah.
But so I'll agree with you there. I just think, I just think as a general rule, you can attain more equality. I prefer to live this way. Let's just put it that way. I wanted to ask you, how Christian are you? Like, what's your relationship with Jesus?
I'm an Orthodox Christian.
Orthodox. So okay, so like Armenian Greek type.
Antiochian.
Is that where that comes from?
So mine's Antiochian, but the original church was Orthodox.
Okay. Do you celebrate Easter?
Yeah.
Which Easter do you celebrate?
Well, if you're gonna dive into how Easter is actually Esther and some pagan nonsense, you're in for a real treat.
No. I'm actually asking you to. I'm trying to get to what you mean by Orthodox, and I'm trying to do you celebrate Easter or Greek Easter? Essentially, is what I'm asking.
Celebrate Easter. There's no Greek Easter. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay, okay, all right. So, okay, you mean something different than I think by orthodox. All right. What would you say is the differentiation between? Well, but in your words, what's the differentiation between orthodox and, let's say?
Well, so I'm a catechumen, so I only recently converted to Orthodoxy. So I'm not the guy to talk to about all the ins and outs of it, right? I'm still learning myself. But the primary difference is that the Eastern Orthodox Church is the original church.
Okay, how does that make you feel to be like from the original church?
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. Are you top of the hierarchy in terms of churches in some way?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're the first church, so we have the real story.
Well, not only do they have the real story, but their traditions have stayed intact since the time of the original church, like 2,000 years, right? Like there's no difference. They've made it a point to make sure that nothing changes.
Okay.
So
All
literally,
right.
the only culture that's never changed is Orthodox culture.
Right. Down 2,000 years. That's a lot of really no mutations in the culture.
No,
That seems hard to believe.
it does, doesn't it? But it's true.
But it's true. Okay. I guess I just have to take your word for it.
No, you
Unless
don't.
someone has like mounds of research.
You don't have to. You can go look at how the original church worshipped, and you can look at how the current church worships, and it's exactly the same. It's documented.
Hmm.
We have document because human beings are cool like that. We write things down. So
Okay. Right. Big Bible fan?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What are we talking about in terms of the study of Bible?
Well, I don't know what you mean.
What's your relationship with the Bible? Like casual perusing? You've been to church and recited a bunch of times, or you
I
study
tend,
fucking shit out of it?
I tend to read the Bible at least 20 minutes a night.
20 minutes a night, so it's a daily thing. Wow.
Yeah.
How does that work? Do you go in chronological or like the order of the book, or do you pick stories based on like, you know what, this is a good lesson for these days?
That's actually a good question. So oftentimes I'll try to take a chapter that was read in church, and I'll
Okay.
try to go through the entire thing and see if I can contextualize things for myself. And then next time I go back, I might have questions that I'll ask about it. So that's the way that I do it. I think other people, they
Yeah.
have different ways that they do it. Um, I have sat down actually and just read cover to cover as well.
Okay.
So yeah, I think everybody has kind of a difference in how they or what their routine is for reading the Bible for sure.
Mm. What's it's still, I mean, to me it's a lot of energy to put in something, and I put that kind of energy in other things. Okay. But what is the why do you do it? Why do you do it that much? What drives you to have this level of energy on the Bible?
I don't think that there's can be anything more important than your relationship with the divine creator of the universe, man. And learning his word, the source of all knowledge and the oldest book ever written with the most amount of knowledge from the most amount of people, even a secularist should read it.
I 100% agree. I think a lot of stories that are contained in the Bible are passed down, or they come from oral tradition. Okay, and to if people thought there were lessons important enough to encode in a song to be passed on for thousands of years, okay, chances are there's some fundamental insights into what it is to be human in
Well, it
there.
sounds like you should tell people to read their Bible, huh?
I do tell people to read the Bible. I just don't think. I mean, I don't
Well,
advocate for reading the Bible every day, 20 minutes.
you're just
But
saying a lot of energy a second ago. Now it's like you're kind of singing its praises a bit.
I I can appreciate the Bible very much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so what do you want in life, right? Do you want to be complete? Do you want to be a complete person? Do you want to be a person who, um, what are your goals? Because every time I dive into a person's goals, I find out what they actually want is
Mm,
they generally want what everybody wants, which is a nice wife, children, sense of self, and to be happy. Those seem
mhm.
to be the things that most people want.
Okay.
All the core values, though, or anytime I run into people who seem to be down, out, fucked up, messed up, crazy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, are usually the people who are the worst advocates against biblical theology, reading, morals, things like this. They seem to
Mhm,
completely reject it wholesale,
mhm.
and they can never seem to really fill that void.
Right, right. It's like, yeah, it's like, I get. Are you like describing like this kind of like rejection that people maybe maybe they're unhappy with life for whatever reason they got raised in it, right? And they want to rebel against this system or the parents or
I'm
even the system that puts it in place, and they
yes,
reject all of it.
yeah. Sometimes it's that way, but most of the time, I think it just revolves around a singular issue, which is materialism. I think most people are so caught up in materialism that they're beat over the head with it day and night. They can never fill this void. Like, I've never met anybody who said, once I buy this thing I'll be happy, then they buy that thing and they're actually happy. It's never happened once.
Right,
I've
right.
never seen
Happiness
it
comes
happen.
from other things.
Well, no, it doesn't come from other things. It comes from you. It comes specifically from the divinity of your creator. Period. I've
Right.
never met a person yet who's truly happy with materialism. I've just never seen it. I've never seen anybody say, if I once I get this thing, I'll be happy. Once this happens, then I'll be happy. Right? Once I get this job, then I'll be happy. Once all the stars fucking align, then I'll be happy. There's a thing called the lottery curse, for instance. Most people win the lottery. They've been hoping and praying and screaming that they wanted it their entire life, and most of them lose their entire fortune within just a couple of years. And the reason that this happens is, and they find out, hey, I got all this money and it actually didn't make me happy. The old Roman Caesars, many of them, like Marcus Aurelius, for instance, said, hey, happiness is just a key to the quality of your thoughts. So what ends up happening is that people aren't trained how to think in terms of understanding that happiness comes from the quality of the way that you think about things. The Bible will teach you how to think.
Okay. You know what? I have to admit, yeah, the way people think things, eliminating thoughts that are hurtful to yourself, right, is quite a little discipline, right? And honestly, it needs to be worked on. It needs to be worked on, and also you need relationships on which to test it on,
Yeah,
right?
but you can't. You can't, because what happens is becomes subjective what thought's harmful and what thought's not. That's why religion's so important. It gets rid of the subjectivity. It tells you what thoughts are bad, tells you what things are bad, tells you what issues are actually bad. It's no longer subjective, so you have knowledge. You can identify those evil thoughts because you know they're bad, right? They go against your core religious beliefs. So you know it's a bad thought. You know it's a bad thing. You know that this is something that you shouldn't be dwelling on. And it also gives you a guide for what's good. So it shows you what to focus on for what's good. You focus on those good things, and what ends up happening is good results, right?
What are the good things that? What's the top good thing you need to focus on? Oh no, no, hold on. I know. No, I know. It's the two most important commandments. Are we a commandments person?
Yeah.
Right.
You're talking
Right.
about the two most important.
Number
By
one, according to Jesus, love God, and number two is love other people.
well, that's not quite, but it's close enough. So
Yeah, I'm paraphrasing. Clearly.
yeah, and I think that that's fine. But I would say that first and foremost, probably the thing that you should do to govern your thoughts the best is have a little bit of humbleness. And then the second thing is,
Sure.
and the best way to be humble is to give all glory to God.
Because it humbles you in the face of something greater.
Yeah.
And therefore,
There's
yeah.
nothing that you're
I guess
doing.
it reminds you. I guess it reminds you that your good fortune isn't to be taken for granted.
Yeah.
That it was given to you, but also it could go away any minute, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
You can get hit by a bus tomorrow, right?
whether you believe that's God or randomness, or you believe that both are the same thing intertwined. It's a good it's kind of a prudent way to approach wherever the motivation comes from. I find it's a good approach. Your luck could turn tomorrow in bad ways, and you should have a lot of options. You should build a lot of options for yourself.
Well, you should always be giving glory to something that's outside of you, God. This is the only path to humbleness. Otherwise, you think everything comes from you. So if everything comes from you, right, then there's no way for you to be humble. How could you be? Like, how is that possible? If you think that all success in your life came from you, how could you ever humble yourself to somebody else about success? You couldn't. You would say, this came from an external source and not me. Otherwise, there's no. It's like it's a it's an oxymoron. It's a logical. You can't follow that thought to
Right.
the end.
And that's a lot of pressure too. That's a lot of pressure because if everything that's good comes from you and things aren't good in your life, that's on you. That's your
Yeah,
fault.
sure is, isn't
That's
it?
your fault. That can crush a person. By the
Sure
way, having
can.
that kind of weight of the world on your shoulders, right? And
Yeah.
outsourcing it to God, okay, is a great way to just not think about that stuff and improve the quality of your thoughts.
No, I don't. I don't think so. I don't think that you're outsourcing all of the burden of your life on God. What
No,
I'm
but I
saying
mean, you're
is that
putting it on God. You give that burden to God of your fortune.
well, you would be asking God for mercy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mercy for you being cool or whatever.
Mhm.
But all that aside, Twitch people always want to talk about theology with me, and they want to talk about faith with me, and this kind of thing. But primarily, I argue in secular terms, and I'm a political commentator. I don't usually do Christian apologetics, though. For some reason, people on Twitch often seem to want to talk about Christianity, which I find interesting,
Mhm.
like they've never seen a Christian before or a Christian fundamentalist. It's bizarre.
How about me? Do you get the impression I'm trying to fuck with you in some way?
No,
Thank you.
no,
Um.
I was just making an observation.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? I figured I'd ask.
Yeah.
Never know. Best to ask and get things out of the way, right? And talk to each other like we're people who actually want to talk to people.
Yeah. So are you a progressive?
Um. I guess it depends on what.
Well, I'm curious, right? Because
I'm a libertarian.
I want to make a couple things clear just so that you know.
Yeah, of course.
So I consider a critically thinking veteran to be a
Mhm.
phony Christian and a fake conservative and pretty much a loser across the board. And I don't like the guy, right?
Okay. Well.
And I really don't think that he should ever espouse any conservative values because he doesn't have any conservative values. So I'm wondering, since the last time I saw a stream with critically thinking veteran, he had MX Vivian Wolf on. The second I was off his stream, and MX Vivian Wolf happens to be a person who likes to dox conservatives, is heavily involved in Kiwi farms, along with all these other things. If how you end up in this supposed quote unquote wolf pack of CTVs. How do you end up in the orbit of a conservative if you're a progressive? I'm just really curious about that.
I showed up on his stream once in a while to smoke my joint at the end of the night. All right, and he was good memes. All right, and we get along well, and there you go. All right.
Do you guys like smoke dope together? That's the thing.
You know what? That's a great way to classify a relationship. And sometimes we do streams.
So you smoke dope and do streams together.
That's right. Yes.
What would you consider CTV's conservative values?
Oh, you know what? I think he's a classical liberal, honestly.
So libertarian.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that probably sounds a little bit more correct. So the thing is that I don't really understand. I understand for the Crucible, the program I run, why so many progressives come over because it's a neutral platform and it's promoted as a neutral platform run by conservatives. So I understand why we have so many progressives who gravitate there, who want to have a neutral debate or be on neutral ground to have a debate with a conservative. That makes sense to me. I don't understand how people personally gravitate, though, towards this complete and total boob and moron who who are progressives. That's bizarre to me.
Okay. Well, you know what? Just because someone is not politically aligned with you, it doesn't mean you can't have a good time together. That's what he offers. I don't know what to tell you. He's a community guy, okay, who poses as some meme lord, okay, who gets hired by debate streams to act like a debate bro. Okay.
Yeah, he's a progressive punching bag.
I mean, he has fun with it. He does his character. It's pro wrestling, and then other than that, he's just hanging out in his chat with his people.
You know why I find that particularly problematic?
Please tell me. Oh, hold on, just one before you. This juicy story. Hold on. Someone's saying, okay, that I'm going to be wasted soon. Okay, I'm actually not drinking that much. You know what? I'm getting the pasties because I smoke. I smoke a joint, right? and I'm not drinking. I'm not taking like a drawl of this. I'm wetting my beak. It's lip gloss. It's lip gloss for men. Okay, so don't drink this much that looks like I'm drinking. That's bad habits. This is literally lip gloss for men. All right, so on. Go on. Tell me more about CTV.
Well, my point was to say that I believe that there's a cascade effect that happens from YouTube political commentators and from Twitch political commentators, and that they do set the tone for an undercurrent for political discourse, which happens online within the Twitter sphere, things like this, and it gravitates out. It's like tendrils. And I
Okay.
think that they purposely bring in the weakest conservatives that they possibly can in order to make them a punching bag so that they can continue to pour out how stupid conservatives are and how smart they are.
Mhm.
And in this way, influence this small social undercurrent, which has a mass effect, even though it's in a tiny corner, on society at large. Because that's how thoughts work, right? A thought starts somewhere and then it gravitates out and then it gets tweeted and retweeted
Right.
and blah, 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 all the way
Okay.
down the line, right? So it makes me think that it's very counterintuitive to have this fucking idiot running around giving his political takes specifically so that he acts as a punching bag for progressives.
You think he's doing the conservative cause harm?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. I think he's harmful for the conservative cause. Okay. And so I guess what is your demand? Do you want him to stop calling himself a conservative?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Well, I mean, don't you
That
think?
seems fair, right?
But look. I'm not going to tell anybody.
I want racialists to
whatever he
call
wants.
themselves conservatives too.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He attracts the kind of people, okay, that identify as conservative.
No,
okay?
he doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, the people
He's
in his
just
chat.
all that there was, and he's hoisted up on Dylan Burns' shoulder. But no, he doesn't attract conservatives.
Okay, you like to talk a lot of shit on your show. You know what? I secretly love hearing people talk about shit, talk shit about people. But I have to not not listen to it because I have other things to do, right? But
I think people get confused that we're in this be nice world, and I think that people get confused about when you tell the truth about something, it being construed as being talking shit. What I'm saying is factually correct.
Okay.
Critically thinking veteran.
You're not talking shit. You're describing a situation.
Yes, critically thinking veteran is not a conservative. Critically thinking veteran is hoisted on the shoulders of Dylan Burns, and inside that orbit, specifically, is a punching bag, and is a way for them to say that they actually do have conservatives inside their gravitation in order to draw views.
Okay. Well,
I know this and can prove it to you because guys like Rob Noor will absolutely crush these fucking idiots, right? And they don't want them anywhere near them for just that reason. Liberals and progressives cannot stand up to actual conservatives. Their ideas are shit and they get completely demolished because their ideas are shit. And so this is what I see happening over and over. And I just see this guy as being like a front man for these dumbass progressives so that they can beat the hell out of him verbally on their streams and then throw their tendrils out more and say, are you not entertained? And that's bad for political discourse in a place called Twitch politics,
okay. All right. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, you don't have to tell me anything. I'm just explaining to you my position on that.
This is your disagreement. And for you, it's okay. Why is it so important that he does? Okay. Oh, I'm trying to think about how I want to ask what I want to ask you. Why is it so important to defend the cause of quote unquote conservatism?
Well, I explained this on my show earlier, but I'll re-explain it now.
All right.
Conservatism is about conserving something.
Okay.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be called conservatism, right?
Right. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay. Hold on. Fair enough. Okay. In some ways, I'm a conservative. I agree with you on the materialism bit, right? I think focus should be on the relationships in your life, the relationships within your life and a certain amount of autonomy. There's like work that can go into your life, but the people in your life. So I forgot where I was going with that. I am so sorry. I lose the thread sometimes.
You were saying that you have conservative values yourself, if it comes to the definition of it being to conserve something.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I don't like materialism. I don't like consumerism, quite honestly.
Yeah, so let me just qualify a little bit more, right? Conservatism is about conserving culture specifically.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I get it.
The
All right.
thing is that you and I know culture shifts, right? There's nothing that
Mhm.
can be done about that. Culture is going to shift, unless, of course, you have like a church that hasn't, changed in 2,000 years. That would be something that the culture didn't shift on. It would be like a true conservative position, wouldn't it? That you were conserving something that
Mhm.
has been unchanging for X amount of time. The problem that I see right now with conservative,
Orthodox Christianity, unchanged,
well, not just
immutable.
Orthodox Christianity, but what I'm saying is that the biggest problem with conservatism is that they have nothing they're trying to conserve, right?
Mm.
So you get a libertarian like CTV or many of these other people. They're like, no, legalize drugs, legalize prostitution, legalize pornography, legal because I want everybody to have maximum in the way of individual rights. Well, that's not conservatism. What are they trying to conserve? They're not conserving anything. They're progressing, not conserving.
Right. They're progressing, I guess, in different directions. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's not conservatism. So when people say that they're conservatives and then they espouse this shit, what ends up happening is people run away from the conservative movement thinking that we're all a bunch of dumb fucking progressive cucks. And we're not.
Okay. Real conservatives. All right. To really conserve tradition because it's tradition, or because it contains kind of um, yeah, knowledge that humanity or knowledge and habits that humanity wanted passed down at some point.
Well, there's multiple ways to interpret what you want to conserve. As I was explaining earlier, an ethno nationalist would say that conservation should always be done along racial lines, for instance, which is
Mhm.
absurd, right?
Okay.
I want to conserve the this
Right.
race, or I want to
Okay.
conserve that race, for instance.
Hmm.
You could have people who want to conserve what they call traditional values, meaning that I want marriage to remain unchanging, or I want this
Yeah.
to remain unchanging, or this or that.
Mhm.
The way that I always view it is I think all of them are wrong, and that what we should be trying to conserve is moral value structures.
Okay.
That's it. And so this is why the culture shifts, is because we compromise on morality.
Mm.
So we're not conserving anything.
Mm. I hmm. I can't. Well, that's a lot to take in. I mean, I can't agree with that approach, but I'm not going to try to shout at you to change anything, right? Um, I think things are always changing. I think there should be a reverence, a huge, much more of a reverence for tradition, just because I think it's not there for nothing, right? But the environment changes, and so do the mores of the society that lives in the environment.
Well,
So
I think you can have demographics change. I think you can have houses change. You can have land change. You can have everything around you change, and your morality can stay unchanging.
what's what are the largest breaches in morality for you?
Well, I mean, it's kind of an endless list, but let's just take something that's basic.
Yeah.
Something that would be a basic moral issue for me would be things like pornography, for instance. That would
Okay.
be an immoral proposition. Do I think it was good to preserve a culture or preserve a moral system that said no to morality? The answer would be yes, right? So when we're trying to conserve it now, what are we trying to do? We're trying to get back to when there wasn't massive amounts of pornography. We can't turn the clock back
Mhm.
except through legislation. So this is what the conservative movement should be focusing on, is legislating what their moral positions are. And what's happened is progressives have taken the mantle of only they can be the arbiters of what is moral, and so therefore only they can legislate morality. If anybody else tries to, they say, you're trying to legislate morality. Right? That's what they say. You're trying to legislate morality.
I
Well, yeah,
mean, just
duh.
because just because your morality, or just because the morality of a time and place dictates, okay, that something shouldn't happen, it doesn't mean that it isn't happening, and that it provides an actual role to society that is undocumented.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Look, hold on. Like uh polygamy, although non officially, okay, is probably a dominant a dominant, I guess, mating pattern in the United States.
No, it's not.
Okay. No, you don't think
No,
there's a lot of guys with like who have their wives, but they also have their mistresses or something like that?
a lot.
No, not a lot. It doesn't happen that often.
No, I mean, do you want your wife to get fucked by another guy?
Not particularly.
No. Then do you think that she would be pleased if you fucked another chick?
Hey, man, it happens, dude. It happens.
Would she be okay with it?
My
Like,
wife?
could you fuck another chick in front of her? Would she be cool with
No,
it?
no, no. She's not. She's not there yet.
No,
Yeah,
but
she's not there yet.
she'd be okay if you went and, like, plowed other women. I don't think so.
No, probably not. That's what. No, it would be devastating to my entire life.
Yeah,
I've structured my life this way.
right.
Okay?
So I mean,
that
but the thing is,
so that
it's
it's
like
extremely damaging if I break this contract, and I have no desire.
so like, it's a truism across the board, though. That's why we call them cucks. You know, like if the person that you love is fucking around with somebody else, it's not good. You know, and just
Right.
because you
Probably a
both
problem in your well, if she's doing it behind your back.
agreed to it, doesn't make it any more good.
Hmm.
You know, it's still bad. And
If
so the thing is like, you know, from my standpoint, no, I don't think that there's a lot of people who are into polygamy. I don't think that they want to see their significant other get fucked by other people. Like, could you imagine if your friend came to you and was like, "Man, I just want to see my wife get fucked by another
well,
guy"?
I'm not talking about this as like the main relationship. There's a bunch of them. I'm thinking more of like the guy cheating on his wife. Okay?
Yeah, that's bad.
No, I know it's bad. No.
But wouldn't you like
I know
to
it's bad, but okay. My point was is that if this is kind of this behavior is widespread, all right, maybe it's I don't know what took the edge off for people, okay, in society, all right. That's no, but I mean that's how our society's evolved. Okay, it's an integral part of kind of how our society works, and even though it's outlawed, it happens. You know, there's still whorehouses and people have like sexual needs to like get out of the way, and they don't have this incels all over the place. What do you want these people to do? Go make them go crazy? They got to find some way to fuck. Okay, they're gonna go insane and blow people up.
Okay, so that's like saying that you have a or a gene in your body that makes you more likely to be an alcoholic if you drink, and those genes exist, right?
Yeah, okay,
they do.
fair enough.
And you're saying, well, I mean, what do you want them to do? Just like never have a drink? And my answer is yeah.
Never have a drink.
That's exactly what I want them to do, because the proclivity or the presupposition is that if you do have the drink, you're far more likely to become addicted to the alcohol. Same thing with people who have these mass porn addictions. Their brains are being rewired. They don't start off with a mass porn addiction. It starts off gradual, and then it becomes an addiction, like almost everything else. Just like it's the same thing. Not that many people, I think, pick up a video game controller and are instantly addicted, though I'm sure it happens occasionally. I think it's a gradual change that happens over time before the addiction sets in, and then you can't get away from it. It becomes a habit, and habit becomes a way of life. So, like,
you don't think these habits they can be broken out of?
I do think that they can, but the best way to break a habit is to eliminate the temptation for it.
You're gonna have temptations in life all the time. The best thing to do is how to deal with them when they do happen.
Yeah, but like it doesn't matter if you're. So if you say
it's not porn, it's another thing.
You're always going to.
Yeah.
Hang on. You say I'm always going to have temptations in life. I would agree. You're always going to have temptations, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't cut down on the temptations that you have some type of requisite and know you have a weakness to. For instance, if I was a person who just loved having sex with tons of women, and I married one woman and made a commitment to stay with her, I probably wouldn't go run a strip club, right? That might not be the best idea for me to do, because then I'd be around temptation all day, right? Maybe a little bit of restraint might be in order, right? So this, what I mean is like, look, no, I think that if we outlawed porn tomorrow, I don't think anybody's ever made a good case for why that would be bad for society. You know, I don't think it would be. I think we'd all be fine. Not only would we be fine, but I think a lot of people would be doing a lot better, in fact.
Why? Because they'd have to go out and try to fuck people?
Well, not
I
only
mean,
would
it would force them to be like social and stuff, and then actually have to work on their personality and maybe their problems instead
not
of
only
just staying at home in their fucking closet going skeet,
acting,
skeet, skeet. I don't have to do anything.
yeah, I do think that their social skills would greatly increase, and I also think that their habits would get better. I think that their overall quality of life would begin to almost instantaneously increase. So, and I think that across the board, even for the person who is like the occasional porn watcher, I don't
Mhm.
think that it's going to do them any harm. It's not going to do the addict any harm for sure, right? Like, what would be the big like? Even if you just regressed it to back when we were kids, right? And you went to the Blockbuster video and there was just a curtain, and you weren't supposed to go back behind the curtain
Okay.
because that's where all the fucking porn movies in the Blockbuster were or whatever.
Okay.
Even if you were to regress it to that and just get rid of it on the internet, I think that would be a huge step in the right
Okay.
direction.
Hold on, guy. Maybe. What if it's like? What if you're not using it for depravity? What if it's like your sleeping pill? You know.
I don't understand your
Hey,
sleep.
you jerk off, and then you release, right? And then you're like tired, you're good, right? So then you go to sleep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would still be a very
I
bad
love.
habit, bad
Don't get me
addiction.
wrong. I would rather fuck my wife, okay? But sometimes we're just like tired, all right? We're
Yeah,
just
right.
tired.
No, but you're not too tired to jerk off.
It'll take me 5 minutes, and then I'll go to sleep. Honestly, it's better than tossing and turning my bed.
Taking 5 minutes compared to fucking your wife, like that should be the quicker.
Yeah, that's right. Look, sweetie, sorry, sleeping pill time. Yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep. Okay, we're good. We're
No,
good. Thank you. Go clean up. Go clean up now.
right. No.
Right, I have a vasectomy. So I just go right in there. No.
Yeah, me too. I have.
You got snipped. So did everything went well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it weird?
For the first couple of weeks,
No, I mean
felt
when they were getting it done.
I couldn't feel it. It was
Really?
all they used a local anesthesia, so
Guy, I felt something burn up to my fucking belly. Okay, when they were cauterizing something down there. Okay, I felt that shit. The anesthetic didn't take.
they don't cauterize it. They just pull it out and they cut it and they tie it off and they stuff it back in and they sew you up.
No, I got some cauterizing.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's how we do it in Canada.
Yeah, I guess, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's that good socialized
free.
medicine.
It was free and it was convenient.
Yeah.
Just bading badang. I go in there. Okay, I do this. I had a nice breakfast with my wife after with an ice pack on my balls. I actually really enjoyed. Here's some man talk here. I actually really enjoyed the feeling of the ice pack on my balls, of the freezing ice pack. Okay, like it was fucking super uncomfortable, but I had to do it to keep down the swelling. Right. So fuck it. I'll just take the discomfort. Right. And then I was like, after a while, after the first 3-4 days, I was like, I actually enjoy this discomfort. I don't know. Did you have this impression? Or did you have this feeling, or is this totally out there?
No,
Nothing.
I didn't have that feeling. No.
Okay. Oh, there you go. You heard it here first. Montreal player loves the feeling of ice on his balls.
Fucking weirdo Canadians, man.
Mm.
Weirdo Canadians.
Yeah, it had to be some kind of ice fetish because I'm from Canada.
Yeah, I don't know. Them boys up north are something different. But yeah, so I guess back to this. I had already had many children, so I was happy to.
How many? How many do you have?
5.
5? Oh, fuck you, dude. I have 4.
Male or female?
I have 3 girls and 1 boy.
Yeah, so I have all girls.
All girls, really? Oh, okay. Be honest. You were trying for a boy. At one point, you're like, after 3 girls, you're just like, okay, can we get a fucking penis in here, please?
No, I had a son. He passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's not something I bring up much. It's not a big deal.
It's fine. It's
So anyway, yeah, I didn't mean it to go all morbid. It's just like
no, don't worry. Don't worry about it. But that gets me hearing something like that. Anyways,
almost like you have some type of moral axioms to fall back on.
Look, I have some.
They're worth conserving.
I have some. Yeah, they're worth conserving. Yeah,
They're worth conserving. So
Read
come
the
on
Bible.
over to the dark side, brother. Come to the dark side. Get away from the communist Yeah, like, look, come on.
I'm keeping the communism. Sorry.
Communism's dumb,
No,
bro. Like, it's
communalism's
stupid.
awesome, dude.
It's utopian stupidity. It doesn't even
No,
make
not
sense.
on a scale of like fucking 20, 25 people, guy. Okay.
Even then, it's terrible. Look, I'm gonna help you out.
All right.
So, what you may not know
Mhm.
is in the early 1900s and all throughout the 1800s, there was all
Yep.
kinds of Christian communes.
Yep.
Okay, they all
Yep.
failed,
Yep.
and they all failed because people get fucking weird inside of communes, right?
I
Become
feel like they failed because
they become very tribal.
yeah,
And
in a
so
group.
they end up getting up at the top, and when
All
they
right.
end up getting at the top of that hierarchy, and they have this small group, suddenly
Mhm.
they start putting in all sorts of bizarre little things, little fetishes, things like that. They start fucking each other's wives, maybe, or think David Koresh, for instance. Right?
Right. I
So
get
I mean,
that
it's not
happens.
people don't really live in a commune; they're living in a cult. You know.
Okay,
Oh,
that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like finding a fucking I'm not talking about like finding some fucking place where you can isolate people, okay, and fucking brainwash them. I'm talking about where you're at in fucking civilization, okay? You build networks of people, okay, and you find ways to solve common problems. Like actively do that.
we do that now,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. I feel like a
Right.
lot of people don't have that kind of entrepreneurial approach to it.
Yeah, but so what? They wouldn't in communism either. Like, I mean, this is the approach and how we solve problems right this second is by
Right.
doing what we're doing right now. We're on the internet, we're having a conversation,
Mhm.
right? And if a
Clearly,
problem
yeah.
arose, we would give our opinions on that problem. And if it was big enough, maybe we would work together in some way to solve that problem. Like
Okay.
this is not unique to this time and space and history for sure.
No,
And
but I mean, like, okay, look, hold on. For example, all right. So I homeschool. I homeschool my son, or I don't do it. My wife does it.
double
Okay.
based, right? Base,
All right.
base, base.
All right. So, and the reason is I put three girls through public school. All right. And they're very smart. They do very well in school. Okay. But their fucking anxiety is through the roof. All right. Now, there's some probably growing up with us. I had kids young, or relatively young. My first one was at I was
Did you fuck
22
them up,
years old.
bro? Did you fuck them up? Is that what
Did
you're
I
saying?
fuck them up? Oh, slightly, but they're wonderful. They're wonderful. They're slightly fucked up, but so am I for that matter. Okay, and that's it. It's nothing we can't get through. It's not, anyways. We're having a decent time. So I forgot where I was going with that. Yeah.
Well, what we were talking about is this idea, this communist idea you have of
Oh, right,
social, so in some way social networking.
right. That's right. Sorry, I was talking about. Anyways, we homeschool my son, and the reason is because I just don't want to put another one through public school for whatever reasons I have. Okay, and that's it. But there's networks of people, or sorry, people who are friends and family, are also having kids like the same age, right? So together we've kind of like formed groups, okay, to homeschool them, but they still have a social life with other people, right? Because we can build that kind of life around. I do well. I do well. My wife, her job is to homeschool my kid and manage a few things,
I
right?
mean, any different than they get out of school and they go play with their friends, man.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. It's just the school gives them anxiety, bullying, and honestly, it's just like they learn so much more if they if
Two
they
hours.
learn more at different schedules. We can do a better schedule for my son to learn more. He's way ahead. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So,
Well, I
uh,
homeschool.
hmm?
I
You
homeschool.
homeschool?
Yeah.
So that's it. In that way, it's like this network of people we've supported ourselves to solve a common problem that we've had, right? And in the same network of people, after a while of doing this, okay, we have other problems that we can solve. Like we want to eat better food. Okay, we thought about growing it ourselves. We all have like our little hobby gardens and trade the stuff, but now it's a little more. We realize it's more involved. There's a lot of things with like eating in season and making menus. There's a lot of planning and canning and stuff involved, right? But that's stuff that we can now bulk
I
purchase
mean,
together.
those were all knuckle dragging idiots back in the day, right? This is a progressive narrative. They were all stupid, low IQ dumb fucks, until enlightenment came along and liberated everybody. But
Enlightened.
out, the truth is that if you toil the land yourself, you start to recognize that you can't be a dumb fuck and end up coming up with any type of coherent way to sustain yourself if you're stupid, can you? Doesn't
No,
work very well.
no. It takes a lot of planning and organization. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fucking work. No, exactly. And you'd rather do other things, right? But anyways, in this way, we can get better food. We do process it and can some of it ourselves, and that's it. We're trying to adapt our way to that way of eating. Just because I want to buy more local, and I like the food. I like the food that I get when it's fresh from farmers. There are farmers here that are very accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why not give them my business?
There's
Right.
no reason not to.
Yeah, exactly. Why not give them my
The other
business?
thing is that if you
We
try,
do a little elbow grease together as like a little small community to preserve it and make the most of it.
yeah, but that's
Everybody,
not communism. That's not communism.
it's us. It's us pooling our resources to solve problems together.
Inside
saying-
of inside of
saying-
a free capitalist system where you have ready access to people who have privately held land that they're toiling on, that they then go ahead and they yield all the fruits from that. It's readily accessible to you and your neighbors for all the seeds, for all the shipping, for all the this, for all the that. I mean, that's
Right,
a
but we don't-
huge amount of infrastructure, man.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But people don't buy that. They go to a grocery store. They go to a grocery store and buy shit from Guatemala or something. Why?
Yeah, they
Cheaper,
don't believe it.
easier, more convenient. You have other things to do. I get
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah, but-
I'm not
but-
gonna start. I can't tell people how to live their lives, okay? Because they have their other shit that they're trying to deal with, other shit that's important to them. I can't tell people how to live their lives. All I can do is find ways to do it for myself, and then if people like what's going on here, they can mimic it. I'm not sure. Share here. Anyways.
I still don't understand why you think you can't tell a person how to live their life if they're living a fucked up life. That's bizarre.
Because again, because my judgment of them, my snap judgment of them, okay, or even my judgment of them has more to do with my own fucking whatever's going on in my head, all right, than their problems. I don't know what they're dealing with.
Yeah, but what's wrong with that?
Well, it's just I'm not gonna give them my fucking unsolicited advice, all
Why
right? Because it's bullshit. My advice is bullshit. It doesn't matter how right I think it is. My advice is fucking bullshit. It's random. Some rando gives you rando advice, okay, that's based mostly on that person, okay, and you're supposed to be like, yeah, I got to do what this guy says. He doesn't understand your fucking
man.
problems.
Like I think that enough
You
strangers.
do the wrong thing. He doesn't give a fuck.
Don't you think that if enough strangers walked over to you and said that whatever behavior you were doing was bad, that you would probably be more inclined to change it than if people you knew were telling you that the behavior was bad? So I would think that, like, just random strangers walking over to me, for instance, and saying something like, hey, don't smoke crack, right? Or put down the crack pipe, right? It might mean more to me if a bunch of random people I didn't know obviously saw the problem so apparently they just walk over and just tell me about it. Right? Like, would that have more force behind it?
You have a lot of people who do crack regularly, and they make it a healthy habit.
No, makes crack a healthy habit.
Yes, there are drug users out there. Okay, I swear to you, man, there are drug users out there who actually and I think they're the majority. Actually, they never get arrested and stuff.
No, there's nobody out there responsibly smoking crack, brother.
There's been studies about this.
No, there's not.
Okay. Well, we're not going to go further than that. I'm not going to.
I don't even think in this particular case I would almost want to put it all in a monolith and say there's not even outliers. Nobody is out there recreationally smoking crack who's living their best life, man. So then, if it's not their best life, get rid of the crack, right?
Well, maybe the crack's not the problem. Maybe their problems are the problem, and the crack is
That's
the way to.
Fucking problem. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Let's not bullshit it, right?
No, it's
crackheads don't have great outcomes, even in your worldview, right? Like, we don't want more crackheads. We don't want more drug addicts. We don't want more fentanyl takers. Like, this is all bad stuff that we want to get rid of. And there's no reason not to walk over to someone and be like, look, man, you've been abusing drugs. Stop it. You know? Like, just stop.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with doing that? Not only should you do that, but I think you kind of have an obligation to do that. You know, I think you kind of have an obligation to walk over to someone and be like, "Look, man, you're kind of a piece of shit, and you should probably stop being a piece of shit." You know, like
If
I don't. Not only do I not see a
if
problem
you
with
see
that,
a
but
fraud, yeah, okay, sure. If you see a fraud, call a fraud. Sure.
yeah, well, not just that, but like you know, you might be able to help a person by explaining to them. Like, I don't know how many hundreds of people I talk to, you know, throughout a given month, but I get emails and DMs and everything from everywhere. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I try to take time. Like I sat down with my wife when we first started doing this, and I'm like, we're going to respond to everything, and we're going to read everything everybody sends to us, no matter what. Even if it takes us, you know, a fucking year to get through it all, and it's only a month's worth, we're fucking doing it. She's like, okay, we're doing it. So we do every single night, go through everything as much as we can possibly get through. We respond to everyone. We talk, we talk to everyone, this and that. And here's what I found, right? Nine out of 10 times, I just say, hey, man, stop being a fucking idiot. And they'll be like, yeah, I probably should stop being a fucking idiot. And you know what they do? They stop being a fucking idiot, or they stop doing a fucked up thing, or they stop being a fucking moron. You know what I mean? Like sometimes maybe you just got to give a person permission to know, hey, you can not be a piece of shit. You know, you can just not do this horrible thing. It's okay. Yeah. But everyone, the progressives are always like, oh, it's just not so black and white as that. It's like it is. Like for instance, you right now. I'm going to
Okay.
tell you right now, right?
Mhm.
You should stop smoking dope, right? You just should.
All right.
Right. Now, are you going to stop? No.
No.
But I'm
No.
happy to tell you that you probably should stop smoking dope. Now, to be fair, on your side, probably 300 people who would be on the other end being like, well, you should stop smoking cigarettes. And they're fucking right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're right. But it's not incapacitating me. It's not fucking me up. It's not messing me up. Same way that hardcore drugs do, this and that. And when I dive into things with people, what I always find is that 9 out of 10 times, or maybe even
Montreal
more than
player,
that,
you're a
like
fucking
maybe
cunt.
it's
I'm just
99
saying.
out of 100 times. What I find is that people are in the position in life that they're in based specifically on terrible fucking choices that they've made that were completely inside of their control, and they look for external forces to blame.
Probably.
This is just what my experience is, man.
All right. I don't know what to tell you. I keep saying that. Looking for something to blame. Sometimes things are to blame. Sometimes it's not all you. Okay.
That's true.
I think. You know what? I think. I guess my way to approach that is to expect things to be flawed, to expect things to be, to not quite go my way. All right, and set myself up. All right, so that I guess I always have insurance. So you'll get
Sure.
knocked out of the game. Don't
Yeah.
get knocked out of the game. You just live to keep trying.
So to expand on this, so let me just tell you, like you're right, and you're
Mhm.
also wrong. What you're right about is that yes, there are external factors that can fuck a person's life up. Catastrophe can happen in a second. You just walk out on the street, you're not doing anything wrong. A drunk driver swerves around, he fucking hits you, breaks both your legs, you're in the hospital, you're all fucked up. You're like, what did you do wrong? Nothing, right? You're just crossing the street. An external factor. But that's not the majority of the situations. The majority of the situations are very gradual, a gradual yielding of terrible choices that end up with a horrific result. The gradual choice being, I made a bad choice, followed by a bad choice, followed by a terrible choice, followed by, you know what I mean, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, until they reached this zenith where everything is just totally fucked up. Everything is totally fucked up. Think about all those friends you got whose marriages are ruined. You know what I mean? Because one person stepped out on the other one, and one of their biggest regrets is, man, I wish I could go back and take all that back. You know what I mean? But what led up to the affair, right? It was a series of choices, right? Like affairs aren't spontaneous usually, right? It's not something like, oh, you just saw a hot chick.
Right,
And
that's right. Yeah. That's right. You developed like a
yeah.
flirting. Yeah, there's a
So
relationship.
it was just a continuation of choice,
Sure.
which
Yeah,
finally led
yeah.
to the action, which finally led to the decimation. And it's like you had all that opportunity to pull back,
Mhm.
and you never took it. And this is the experience I see from most people, is that they fuck things up for themselves.
That's probably true. You know what? I'm going to thank you. It's 11 o'clock. 11:01. Okay, sometimes I quit earlier.
Well, thank
Right?
you for inviting me onto your program. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
this is very interesting. Thank you for talking with me.
Yeah.
All right, and yeah, that's it.
And by the way, before you go,
Mm.
CTV fucking sucks, and he's a fake conservative. I just wanted to let you know. Anyway, have a great night, man.
Entitled to it.
Take care, brother.
Hey, take care, man.